Praise the Lord, everybody. Good morning. As you can see, I'm working the graveyard shift again. I found myself in this place of working the graveyard shift. And so we're going to turn that around real quick, really soon. Let me just move on into my purpose. So the message the Lord gave me was they got away with everything until they met you. Have you ever had someone in your life that you met and you probably thought the friendship or whatever was going on was going to be forever? You just thought it's going to be long term. And then something happened and it's like, what happened? How did this go down this road? How did that happen? Well, for some of you, you thought that was your spouse. You actually thought that was your kingdom spouse. But what was really going on, what had happened, like they say, what really had happened was you were sent into each other's lives for a lesson. Some people come into your life for a lesson. You came into their life for a purpose and a lesson. They came into your life for a purpose and a lesson. But guess what? When you walked away from that lesson, you learned that lesson, okay? Whatever it was. Some people, you come into their life to be a blessing into their life, to get them to see a different aspect of life that they've never seen before, to meet someone they've never seen before, to get someone maybe to change in certain areas of their life. That literally takes place a lot and we don't recognize it, and you ever notice someone's going to be in your life? They will be. If they're not, they're not. And there is a lesson to be learned from that. And then sometimes God reunites, sometimes God restores. But you just never know how the story ends, do you? Because God doesn't always sit there and say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Unless it just depends. Sometimes you go to God and you be like, God, is this going to happen? Or what are you doing in this situation? And he'll tell you if he wants to. And then other times you're strictly on faith. You're strictly, so that's how God doesn't tell you the whole story. He doesn't give you all the nuggets and everything that's going on in a situation. But best believe me that nothing happens just by no reason. Nothing happens for no reason. Trust me. So, but the person that God is saying, they got away with everything. So this person got away with a lot in their lives. They thought they would never, ever maybe get caught. Maybe they thought that they would always be stuck in their ways in whatever areas that was. They always thought they could get away with certain things. So when this person met you, their life completely took a 90-degree turn because you were the shining light that was brought into their life to make changes, whether or not they accepted it. Once the grace of God in you was upon their life, there was no turning back. They had no other choice but to change. They had no other choice, the things that were taking place in their life. It had no other choice but to be exposed because light exposes darkness. And so whatever things were going on, you just have different types of situations. Sometimes both people are learning from each other. Other times that person is sent into a person's life, and then before you know it, they thought they would always get away with certain things. And then when they met you and the grace of God, the oil of God on your life, all of a sudden it's just like, boom, darkness, light hits darkness, and then things just had to change. God wanted change to take place in this person's life, and it did. You may not think it may not look like it did, but God brought about a change in this person's life. It's up to God if he wants to restore, bring restoration, but know that there was a purpose involved, whether or not that person returns into your life or not. There was a purpose and a plan that God had. And so for some of you, you actually thought, wow, I thought that was my spouse, but really God was bringing you into that person's life to save their soul, to save them from some things in their life, to bring about change in their life in a positive way. And it really did help them. So, God does have a plan and a purpose, and a lot of times his plan is to bring about, things that will transpire later on after that person is transformed. Okay, God does have plans like that, but every situation is different, and so you really have to lean on the Lord and the wisdom of the Lord, and kind of have discernment to know what God is doing, and pray. Okay, so on that note, I'm not going to add anything to this or take anything away. So you all have a blessed morning. Stay tuned for the next video. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Shalom.